Christmas miracle. We all wait for it, don't we? Especially in years like these, when the world outside seems too cold and cruel. Last Christmas Eve, a miracle happened in the Clark family, and they would give anything to undo it. It all started when their son, little Jacob, who had stopped talking since September after something happened in the yard, began to sing. Sitting by the window, looking at the falling snow, he quietly, in one note, began to sing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." His voice was clear, ringing, and for his parents, Alice and David, it was precisely that miracle. Tears of joy, hugs, they thought the nightmare was finally over. That evening, while decorating the last branches of the tree, Alice found an old figurine at the very bottom of the box of ornaments. They didn't remember buying it. It was a nativity scene, but not a pretty one. It was ceramic, roughly carved from very dark, almost black wood. The figurines of Mary, Joseph, the baby, and the animals were all there, but their faces were worn away as if sanded, leaving only smooth, blind ovals. And in the blind, Mary's arms lay not a baby, but a small bird, carved from the same black wood, its beak open. Jacob, seeing it, whispered his first word in months, "Found it." Alice, thinking it a strange antique toy, placed the nativity scene under the tree, in a place of honor. That night, David awoke to a sound, not singing, but a click, coming from the nursery. A quiet, bony click, like someone snapping dry branches. He crept to the door. Inside, in the light of the nightlight, he saw Jacob. The boy sat on the bed, and before him on the floor stood that black nativity scene. Jacob rearranged the figurines, but not into a cute scene of worship. He arranged them in a circle, facing outward, or rather, their blind faces, and placed the black bird in the center. He did this with a concentrated adult seriousness, and quietly, in the same spirit, he sang, "Fig pudding, figgy pudding, we won't leave until we get some." In the morning, the miracle continued. Food appeared on the doorstep, a whole basket, a perfectly glazed ham, a bottle of old brandy, a pudding in a rag. No note, no signature. The neighbors denied it. Alice, a little embarrassed, decided, why not? A miracle indeed. They set the ham on the table. It smelled incredible. Sweet, spicy, smoky. But to David, the smell seemed familiar. The smell of his late grandfather's woodcarver's workshop. A mixture of wax, incense, and rotten alder heartwood. At the table, Jacob began talking again, in full sentences. He talked about the other children he played with at night, about the tall man in the coat of needles, about the wax-faced grandmother who melts by the fireplace. His parents laughed, chalking it up to a wild imagination, until Alice cut into the ham. Inside, near the bone, the meat had a strange bluish tint, and when David broke off a piece of pudding, his fingers hit something hard. He broke it. Inside, instead of a coin, was a baked, blackened human tooth, a child's. They threw their food down on the table in horror. At that moment, the lights went out, throughout the entire block, and in that pitch darkness, outside the window, they saw them. Figures, not two, but many. They stood motionless in their garden, amid the snow, their outlines reminiscent of figures from that black Christmas scene. Tall, short, unnaturally proportioned. And they all looked at the house, at their window. They had no faces, but the feeling of being watched was unbearable. Jacob smiled out the window and waved. David rushed to the phone. Dead. To the car. The battery was squeezed dry, the terminals covered in frost and dark, sticky moss. They were trapped. In their own house decorated for the holidays. And then Alice noticed the decorations. On the Christmas tree, among the baubles and garlands, alien-looking ones hung. Small, woven straw cages. Inside something small and dark was moving. Others were empty, but their doors were open, and on each branch, instead of a gingerbread man, hung dry, wrinkled mushrooms made of manure, like tiny, twisted figures. A sound came from the living room. A creak, an old, heavy creaking of wood. They rushed toward it. The black nativity scene beneath the tree was moving. The blind wooden figures, creaking in their places, slowly bowed before the empty cradle. And the black bird in the center turned its beak and clicked it. Once, dryly, soundlessly. A voice came from the speaker, playing loud jazz music. It was Jacob's voice, but layered dozens of times, creating a chilling chorus. They have brought pudding. They have brought ham. They have come to take their own. Open the door. Invite them to come in. It's polite. It's traditional. The door to the basement, always locked, swung open with a bang. The same smell drifted from the black hole. Rotten alder, old earth, and wet wool. Jacob turned to his parents. His eyes were warm, full of love, the same Christmas miracle in them. They say you should come, Mom, to choose us a new uncle. The old one, has gone bad. They ate him, and I have to go. Where? David shouted. Open the door, for the guests. They're freezing, and they want to sing us Christmas carols. The boy headed for the front door. And now, while I'm talking to you, I'm looking out the window, at the snow. I see tracks, not deer, not even the ones from the last story. These tracks, they look like the imprints of wooden soles and gnarled, multi-jointed toes. They lead from the forest straight to the house across the road. So this Christmas, if your silent child suddenly starts singing, check what's under your tree. If you find a black blind nativity scene, burn it. But be careful. They say the smoke from such a tree doesn't rise into the sky. It settles on the ground and finds others who are also waiting for their own Christmas miracle. And if you hear quiet, wooden clicks under your window and a children's choir singing the wrong words to a familiar Christmas carol, don't look. Don't look at them. Just whisper, we already have presents. We already have our fill. And hope they believe you.